welcome to another Coffee with Developers, this time from the office. I don't know why I'm dressed like this. It just felt like the right thing to do today. I've got two people here that know a lot about LLMs and about retrieval augmented generation and all the stuff that AI things are doing it. Both are working for Google Cloud. And the first person that we have here is Mete Atamel. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's just a matter of being in the office. I never record these things at home. I got my things set up for me. I got my coffee and everything. And here I got this microphone that probably records every movement of mine. So I'm not quite sure, but we'll see how it works out. And there's always editing and recording. The other person we have here is Guillaume Laforge, also from Google Cloud. First of all, how is Jordi doing?
Jordi, yeah, I'm not part of Star Trek, but AI and LLM stuff is the future, right? So, well,
I guess it works together, right?
Right.
So both of you have done a lot of this. You've given talks at there's great talks at DevOps Belgium. You just came back from JFocus, where you said, I don't know, somehow I got that impression that you were at JFocus lately. And you both work for Google Cloud, and you're both AI experts. And you weren't only just Google; you also worked for other companies before. You've been in the AI and machine learning space for quite a while. So how do you currently feel about it? Do you think it's great that there's so much attention about it? Or if for somebody who's worked for it for that long, is it just annoying that people are hyping it up all the time?
Well, for me, it's very, very exciting in the sense that there's always something new every week, if not days sometimes, like a new model, a new paper that explores some aspect of AI or LLMs, etc. So it's super interesting to be in that field and try new stuff. And there's always something to try out. So if you're curious, there's always something you can explore. So that's I love that.
Do you feel like there's so much to know and people try to take shortcuts all the time right now? Or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Guillaume that there's always new things coming up. And it's I always feel like I'm falling behind. So as soon as I feel like I learned something, there's something else. So there's this anxiety of like, okay, do I know enough in this field? Am I falling behind? So that's one. The other thing is that, I mean, I'm very excited in some aspects. Like, for example, writing code, like, changed dramatically for me now with like AI. Now, like, I almost don't want to write without AI, even though I know it's not perfect, but at least like it helps me a lot along the way. And then if it doesn't work, I can fix it. So it really speeded up my development, especially front-end development, because I'm mostly back-end developer. So if I need to put some kind of quick UI, now I don't need to really worry about like which library to use, how to do the basic things. Like the AI just gives me the basics. So that's very exciting to me. Like it feels like coding is fun again in a way. But on the flip side, like how much is going to happen? Like at some point, if there's no code generation at all and the AI just does everything, then at that point, like we need to think about what our role will be. So there's a little bit of unknown basically in that, like we'll see what happens and how our roles will change. So it's kind of like a mixed feeling overall, I would say.
Well, it's interesting for somebody who worked on browsers and works on CSS specs and these kind of things. The front end was always my big thing, and people is like, create a Vite app, create a Next app, create Dastrophy, and you're like, why is all this boilerplate code in there? But yeah, it's basically it's convenience for developers, and basically, if you don't know what you're doing, then you might as well have something that other people have built for you that actually is going to be reliable to that degree. I'm curious, what editor are you using? Are you using IDX from Google, or are you a VS Code person like most of us? Better.
Yeah, I'm mostly VS Code nowadays because I program in different languages. Like, so my background is like in strongly typed languages like C# and Java. But then recently, because of Gen AI, I switched to Python. So I think VS Code is kind of the base level IDE that kind of works. I mean, I know it's not as good as like IntelliJ, let's say, for Java, but this is good enough. And then I use Google's Gemini Code Assist to help me with code generation and code completion. And Code Assist works both with VS Code and IntelliJ, JetBrains IDEs basically. So that's what I use. But then I also tried different things. I did try IDX, and I like the idea of having your whole development environment in the browser. It really speeds up setup. But then I did try things like cursor just in my hobby projects, and I really like it as well. And I know there's like 10 others out there that's on my list to try. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's built into GitHub. That basically, when you're on any GitHub repository, you can press the full stop key, and it actually opens Visual Studio Code as the browser-based version. Well, the other one is a browser-based version as well because it's Electron, but it actually has it in there. And I love that when I just want to do a big quick pull request for somebody, instead of just downloading the whole thing and building it on my machine, I just can edit it in the browser directly. And it's amazing how far we've come with that. So that's pretty incredible. Guillaume, the big breakthrough that led to the whole LLM thing was, to me, the Transformers paper, which kind of came out of Google. And then it kind of like ChatGPT took over, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's an app, it's a chat thing," and nobody looked at the piping or the way it actually works under the hood. Now, Google is, of course, good leaps and bounds as well in this kind of thing with the Gemini release and also with the stuff in the Chrome. Do you think this is actually a good position to be in? That the first movers, like with ChatGPT being in the limelight and everybody wanting it to be everything, you can concentrate again a bit on the function.